Hello and welcome back to the Game Match Podcast. I'm your host, Manny Friedman, along with my co-host.
Brad Sloan.
Back
Back
in
in
the
the house,
house, baby.
baby!
Let's go. Let's go.
Semifinals
So,
pod. Manny has a bunch more units in his bank account.
yes, 28 more units on a nice quarter parlay. So I'm stoked. I'm
Yeah,
stoked.
that's crazy. I mean, that's pretty cool that you hit all four. And like the only one who was really tested was Zverev. I would say. I mean, Ruud was somewhat tested by Fokina, but I don't know. I did
Yeah.
watch that match. I never really felt like Ruud was in jeopardy of losing. Um,
Well, he was also lucky not to have to play Djokovic, like let's
sure, of course, yeah.
so I'm not gonna say that like that was a great pick. Like if Djokovic was fully healthy, he should have been a decided favorite. And I think that line was off. Um, like had Djokovic been fit. And I feel like that's how the book kind of judged it, right? Like they were thinking he was gonna play,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I don't know. I thought that was off. Like I don't know if Rude really had the goods to come through mentally in that spot.
It's amazing that Djokovic won in that state.
It's insane. It's insane.
Like, and it just shows you, like, just, I mean, you talk about it all the time. I talk about it a lot less, and I kind of make fun of you for it. But, like,
Yeah.
the mental game piece, it's a real thing, especially in like these super important matches against these top guys.
100%. And I wouldn't call Cerundolo and Musetti the two strongest mentally players like out there.
No,
Right?
no.
Like I think they're on the lower tier given their talent and ability, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like you put like I don't know, do you think Ruud comes through in that spot?
I think
Like
he's much more likely to than Cerundolo or Musetti.
I would agree with that. But no given. No given.
Oh, no, no giving at all. No giving at all. I mean, yeah.
Um I don't know, like guys in that tier Fritz has proven I don't think he would,
I think if
honestly.
anything, I mean, Fritz lost to Nadal in a similar situation.
I know that is true. It's a good point. Actually, very like basically the same situation, to be honest,
Yeah, yeah,
right? On Nadal's weakest surface,
yeah.
nonetheless. Uh, like who else is ranked around though that tier?
Dimitrov.
Ooh, I think I don't know. I think he's a better player than both of those guys, though. So he probably comes through.
I think I agree. Tsitsipas. I think Tsitsipas is mentally tougher most of the time than people give him credit for. He's a weird one. Like, I don't think he'd be phased by the moment.
Yeah, he's a weird case.
He's a weird case, but he's clearly phased by Alcaraz.
He is. He
Like
is.
transitioning to that quarterfinal, he's clearly like,
Let's talk
I
about
got that
that
one
one.
wrong. Like, I picked Steph. I thought Steph would not win the match, but I thought it would be a lot more competitive. And I guess he got to a tiebreak, but man, he just seems like from what I read after the match and heard about during the match,
Yeah.
it just seems like he's completely phased by Alcaraz. Like the comments after the match were like not positive.
I almost
Yeah.
feel like he's in like awe of Alcaraz. He's
Well, he
like,
basically said that. Like his post
yeah,
game, his post match comments were like, I mean, first of all, if I was an athlete, I would never say these kinds of things. I just think it's like
I know.
terrible. Like well, he's basically telling Alcaraz that like Alcaraz is his dad, and like you know and that he knows he can't beat him. Like I don't know why he would do that, but
And
like he was saying like if
I
Alcaraz hits a
felt
ball,
like
like I
I
can't.
was a little bit hesitant with my pick prior to the match because I thought he was acting a little bit out of his shoes and a little bit overconfident in a way. Like he was like, I have the keys to the victory, like I know what to do against him. And like obviously he proved that he does. And like Sisyphus doesn't know what to do to counter that. So, what he was saying was accurate, but like I didn't really appreciate and like that overconfidence per se.
I hear you on that. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
For me, it was more that just like Tsitsipas had looked a lot better all clay season.
Yeah.
Like he had just generally looked better, but I do think it's a tough match because we talk about all the time, right? Like Steph's not the best defensive player. He's an offensive attacking player, and
Right.
like Alcaraz just beats him to the punch.
Well, the problem is Alcaraz's forehand is actually bigger than Tsitsipas's, right?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
It
Yep.
is. So like his one strength, he Alcaraz can counter it. And any attacking ball that Tsitsipas has on the forehand, Alcaraz can counter it with his movement and his defense. So it's kind of negated by that, right?
Better than almost anybody else on the tour, I would say. I think it's more than just like Alcaraz, he can take the offensive because Alcaraz is a pretty aggressive player.
He
If anything,
is.
sometimes he's too aggressive, and I think he just beats him to the punch. Like Tsitsipas needs to punch first to win, and Alcaraz is probably the one guy on the tour that can beat him to the punch.
But he also has that defensive capability
He
where
can steal some points defensively. I'll say that he
right.
can steal
Where
some points.
Tsitsipas can't.
Right, 100% agree with that. Yep, yep. But I
Exactly.
think I think it's more the first thing. I mean, like that's basically what Tsitsipas alluded to, right? In the post game comments that like he basically can't get his like footing into the match against Alcaraz
But
and,
that, I
and
think that
what.
defensive part of it is a huge is a significant part of this discussion though. Like,
I mean, yeah, he's stealing a few more points and
but those
like,
few points are critical to Sissipas's success.
but I think that like I guess what I would say is like I think either one of the two beats Tsitsipas. I think like if he wasn't that amazing of a defender, he would beat Tsitsipas regularly.
Mhm.
And if he didn't have if his first punch was equal to Tsitsipas's, if him and Tsitsipas were getting on the offensive equally during the match, then Alcaraz wins because he has better defense. The problem for Steph is that Alcaraz has both.
Right.
Like he gets on the offensive more than Steph, and his defense is better, so he's stealing more points when Steph does get on offense. So it's just really brutal for
And
Tsitsipas.
Steph has such a liability on the backhand that like any kick serve to the backhand side is gonna start Alcaraz's like point construction on the offensive.
It's also that Ferrero seems to be a decent coach, and like where to hit your serve. And I didn't see any stats on where it was hit, so I'm just going based on what people said. But like where you hit your serve is definitely one thing that a coach can help with pre-match. And even actually now they can even help with it during the match, right? Like because the coach is allowed to coach the players during the match. Coaching guys like what to do during points is hard because it's so much action reaction. But the serve is the one stroke you get to think about for 10, 15 seconds. So like you can actively coach a guy, okay, we want to serve to the backhand. Like you can do that, right? Whereas like it's really hard to tell a guy like, okay, we want you to hit, 60% of the balls to this guy's backhand. Like it's really hard to execute that during a match because it's so much more reactionary.
But with Sissipas, it's such a glaring weakness, right? Like it's such a clear game plan. Like there's no questions when you discuss that kind of game plan. It's just it's so
And my
cut
point is like it's an easier
clear
game plan
cut.
to execute on top of it, right?
It is. And
Like,
it
and it's
opens up the
and it's
court
and
on
like if
top
you're
of
talking
it.
about where to serve the ball, that's the most executable game plan. So like that's why it's tough for him. Yeah, I mean it's just a really tough matchup for Steph at
Whereas
the
if
end of
you're
the day.
playing Zverev, for example, right, like his forehand is quote unquote weaker, right? So like you can say, okay, hit every serve to the forehand, but like still his forehand is better than Sissipas's backhand, right? And it's like he can still hit aggressive shots, and you still technically hit more winners off the forehand than the backhand, right? So it's like that's not such a clear cut game plan, I feel, right? And also
Yes, 100%,
hitting to the
100%. It's the
forehand on
combination.
with
It's just
Zverev
a, it's
doesn't
just a really
necessarily
bad
help.
combination. And then you have the fact that Alcaraz has the drop shot and can come into net and has the
Oh,
variability. Like it's just really tough for it's just really tough for Steph.
but he's like in awe of it, and he just like doesn't know what to do, and it's like I wouldn't be surprised if he loses the next 6 or 7 meetings to Alcaraz.
Yeah, I mean everything seems to be working against him in this rivalry, right? Like
Yeah, 100%,
everything.
100%. It's brutal. It's brutal. I mean, it's going to be a different matchup against Sinner. Um,
1,000%.
but I mean, we'll discuss that in a few minutes. The what was it? What was the other semi? The quarterfinal. I guess we could talk a little bit about Zverev and Demonor. Really impressed with Demonor, man.
Well, what was the first quarter? The first quarter was Sinner Dimitrov, right?
Oh yeah, Sinner Dimitrov.
I mean, I heard Sinner just blew Dimitrov out pretty much. I guess the third. I mean, he really it could have been 2-4-4. Sinner got broken serving for the match.
I mean, that's a really good matchup for Sinner, honestly,
It is. I mean, yeah, it is. I agree.
because Sinner is the one guy that really can attack backhand slices, right? Like Nadal and could do it back in the day, but like now I think Sinner is probably the best guy doing that, I would say.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like I
He
think
seems to be more
Alcaraz,
patient. He seems to be
yeah,
more
Alcaraz
patient in
tends to be
attacking them.
overly aggressive with
There,
the
there might be
ball.
guys who are better at attacking them, but of the top guys, right? Like
Yeah.
of the top 7 to 8 guys, I would say he's the best. Like if you go down far enough, there's probably a few guys I can think of. Like I feel like Greek is actually pretty good at attacking slices. There's probably a few other guys like lower down the list, but of the top guys who are like threats to win slams and have like pretty complete games, I would say that Sinner's probably at the top of the list of attacking slices. Actually, no, maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, Tsitsipas might be ahead of him. Tsitsipas is really good at attacking the slices too on the forehand.
Yeah, but the thing is Sinner can do it off both wings, right?
Yeah. Although Tsitsipas, when he's attacking the slices on the backhand's a lot better because the ball's coming in slower,
Well,
right?
the thing with Sinner, I was actually looking at some stats. He actually hits the least slice of any like top 10 player.
Okay, I believe
It's
that. Yeah.
like there's I think there was a stat like he hit in this tournament, he's hit like 4 or 5% backhand slices. Like
Yeah.
95% he's hitting through the ball. And
Yeah.
like against the slice, that's demoralizing. Like most guys, or like if you're a lower level player, you're usually slicing back a slice, right? Because it's too low to get under it and hit it aggressively. Whereas Sinner, that's out of the question. Like he just doesn't do that. So he's constantly pushing you on the back foot. I think he's by far the best guy. I think Alcaraz is good at it too, but I think he's like a little bit overly aggressive.
Yeah, I think Alcaraz tends to overhit. I think of the top guys, I would say Sinner's the best, and I don't think it's
Yeah.
particularly. It's close actually. I think him and Tsitsipas it's close because
Okay.
Tsitsipas is still better. I think Tsitsipas is still better on the forehand side of
Off
attacking
beforehand. Okay,
those
that's
short
fair.
slices.
That's fair. That's fair.
Um, but again, like Sinner's just such. I mean, the thing that's made we talked about it a million times now. The thing that's catapulted up Sinner, and you see it every match he plays is the defense. Like his defense is absolutely incredible now. He's
It
probably
is.
the best. Also, he's the best defensive player on tour now. He might not be the fastest. He might not be the best ball getter, but I think he's the
Yeah.
best. He's the best defensive player
Okay. I
because like
think
it's amazing like how when Sinner's on the run, how many balls he gets back into like great positions.
yeah, he doesn't give up much ground. That's what I've noticed. Like
Well,
he
even he like even and again even when he like has to move, like he gets the ball back so hard and deep, like from on the run, stretch positions, like he just it's like to me it's just he does so much with the ball in those tough positions
yeah.
that like you'll see guys hit like two great balls and it means nothing.
It's so true. I mean, it's why he's world number one. I mean,
I think that's the biggest reason he's world number one
yeah.
is that the defense is just so improved.
His length is so underrated.
Yeah,
Like
you know, many people talk about it. I mean, I've heard a few people bring it up. You know, like there's a few people who bring it up, and but I don't think a lot. Like I don't think everybody does. It's a very important part. His length helps him out tremendously, and he's very good at using his length.
Yeah, he's really good, and he anticipates
He's
really.
gotten much better at using his length. I think that's been the biggest thing. Like
Yeah.
he's gotten a lot less awkward. Like he still has kind of an awkward like walking around the court, but I think he's gotten a lot less awkward moving around the court, and that's really helped him.
And there's some like you would think that a guy like that would be better at moving side to side, but like he's actually really good at moving up and down too. Like there's some shots that he hits like close to the net, which are incredible as well. Like he has all the
Just in
spots
general,
covered.
yeah, I would agree. I think in general he's just like he's really yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
he's really I mean he's the guy, man.
he is. He is. It's. I mean I'm really happy for him because I just think he's a good dude. Like I don't know. I mean, they're all good guys, right? Like, I think Alcaraz is a good guy too, but like, Sinner he's even more grounded than Alcaraz, right? Like,
Who knows, man? Like I'm like super I don't know, man. Like
you don't like commenting about this kind of stuff.
well no, I don't because I don't think like so much of it is like like can they like they've been putting on faces for the camera, right? Or they could be, right? Like you have no idea. Like
Well,
it,
with Sinner, I genuinely think that how he acts on the camera is how he acts all the time.
I don't pretend to be a psychologist and know these psychologists know these kinds of things. Like I don't know. I don't.
Why, you think he's like some kind of
Psych
partier?
what?
You think he's like some kind of partier? Like he goes out and parties at night?
I doubt that. I just mean like you know how does he treat people behind the scenes? You have no idea. Like it's.
All
I
right.
mean, I'm sure he's a hard worker. That seems pretty clear, and you can see it in the improvements in his game, right? Like that kind of thing you can see. But is he like is he a good dude? Like who knows, right? Like these guys, I mean, like obviously they need to act that way from a marketing perspective, right? Like the best
True.
example of that is
True.
Federer.
True. True. I mean, he wasn't particularly friendly to us when we saw him at the parking lot in Miami.
That's true. That's true.
Like he didn't really wave to us or anything. So
It's true.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you might be right about
But I'm
that.
not angry at him for that. That's not why I have that take. I just, I think it's
Right.
hard to say.
We're also not children, right? So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that being said, well-deserved world number one. There's nothing we can argue. He has a slam to back it up, right?
Yeah, he is number one now, right? That was the
It is.
official
Yeah,
like if Djokovic
yeah.
withdrawing
But
now he's the world
can't
number
take
one.
anything away from him because,
Oh,
like,
he's been incredible. He's been incredible. Like he's
yeah,
lost what, two matches this year?
matches. Yeah.
I mean, the only guy you could really put above him right now is Raonic because Raonic is undefeated. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
my think is probably have Raonic number one and Sinner number two, but
Yeah. I can't wait to discuss the Alcaraz center match, but we got to talk about Zverev Demonor a little bit. I mean, not too much to discuss here. It was a little disappointing that Demonor couldn't steal a second set. Had so many opportunities, but it's gonna be such an uphill battle for him because like he just has to scramble and scrap and claw and do all this and like it's so evident that he's the second best player on the court, you know?
especially on clay, right?
I
Like I
know.
don't know. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I didn't bet on it at all. I thought that and I'm happy I didn't post match. Like I
Really?
feel like man, it's so hard to call. Like it's so hard. Like I feel like a lot of these matches, like this was one of those matches where you knew that like Zverev was the better player, right? Like I guess the minus one
I
makes
mean, I thought backing
sense.
Zverev in some capacity was the way to go. Like I thought that minus 1.5 sets was a no-brainer. Like that should have been minus 170. Because how does Demon get two sets there?
How does Greek sport get two sets?
Yeah, but it's I mean, Zverev, we talk about all the time. He plays down to the level of the competition.
That's the problem, right? That's the whole reason.
But like he has more respect for Demon than he does for Greek Sport, you know? Also, Greek Sport has weapons, right? Like he has a serve and a big forehand, whereas Demon doesn't.
Yeah, but we've seen Zverev make all kinds of matches difficult. I don't know. I
Sure.
you know
Yeah.
yeah
I hear
yeah
you.
thought it was yeah I thought it was just a tough match. And like realistically, like the second set was and Demonor broke Zverev serving for the match. Like
Well,
Zverev served for 5-3 and Demonor broke him.
that's my problem with Zverev, and like that's why I don't like backing him to win these slams or backing him to, do anything is because of the mental side. Like I think he has some demons there, you know, some demons.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think I don't disagree.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Demon couldn't,
Bring out the demons.
bring out the demons. Yeah. Actually, Zverev brought out Zverev's demons in that second set tiebreak when I think Demon had 4-love and he had 5-2
Yeah,
that second set breaker. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I love Demon, man. I think he's the clear example of, as you say, preparation meets opportunity, and he makes the most of his ability. And
yeah,
like he's had the best season of his career, and like I think it's great. It's great.
yeah. I think so too.
So yeah. Um. So I guess that brings us to the settings, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice, nice. So let me open up my account here and then we'll talk about before we get into the semis. I just want like your take on the NBA finals. What's your
That's interesting. Oh, I don't know, man. Like honestly, I've been watching the playoffs, but I don't know basketball as well as other people. There's other people who can comment better on basketball than me.
fair enough.
I tend to like the Celtics because I feel like they're a
Really?
better all around team. I feel like Dallas is a little bit uh heavily reliant on Luca and Kyrie, and Boston has guys who can shut down guards. They're not shut down, but they have guys who can defend against guards reasonably well. Um, and I don't know that I feel like Boston has a matchup advantage. In that they're like I don't know, like who does Luca guard, for instance?
I mean, they kind of play just like decent team defense and they switch everything, right? Like they do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, my question is like how do they avoid having Luca be a liability in this series? That's where I feel like
I think
the
he counteracts it with
the
being the
deep
best player on
squads.
offense. Like
What?
I totally I'm all over the Mavericks here. Like I'm shocked that they are plus 175, plus 200 to win this to
So
win
why do
this
you like the
series.
Mavericks?
First of all, they have the best player on the court. They have the best offensive player. Luca is, I think, on a way higher level than Tatum or Brown. That being said, I'm a tennis guy. I'm not a basketball guy, but like just from watching these playoffs, I think he's the best player. Um, I think they play really good team defense. I think like they know how to switch everything. They know how to um kind of play small ball and manipulate the like manipulate the offense to do what they want to do, kind of. Like they've done this in the past 3 series. Also, they've had such a tough road to the finals that I don't think Boston is going to be prepared for what's coming. Like Boston has had the probably the easiest path to an NBA finals in a while. And like the Mavericks are just so much more battle tested. Um, so I just think like I understand the Celtics should be a favorite, but I would put them at more at like minus 145, kind of minus 150. Maybe Dallas at like a plus 125, plus 130. Like when I saw this line at plus 200 or plus like 180, I was all over Dallas.
I
And my,
mean, we don't think it matters at all. The Celtics were 7 games better than the rest of the league during the regular season.
doesn't matter.
If that doesn't say anything.
Because the Mavericks are a better closing team. They're also better in crunch time. They got two scorers who I trust way more than Brown and Tatum. Like if you had to take Kyrie and Luca in crunch time versus Tatum and Brown, who would you take?
As pure scorers, Luca and Kyrie might be better, but Tatum and Brown, I would say, are way better overall players.
I
Like
would
and
I would
Kyrie have a lot of issues.
uh, but they played really good defense up to this point.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, they're okay on defense. They're I don't know. I wouldn't call them a great. I think they've. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, my favorite
I
bet
think
is
Boston's a much better defensive team.
my favorite bet is not necessarily Dallas winning, but it's Luca to win MVP at plus 240. That's my favorite bet because you get a 40% better price and you get like I think like if the Mavericks are going to win, Lucas has to score like 30 a game,
Yeah,
right?
the only threat there would be Kyrie, right?
That's the only threat, but like Kyrie would
Person.
have to go nuts.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I
That's my
don't know.
all right. Back to the tennis. Let's share the screen. And do you have the Panthers or the Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals?
I mean that I know even less about. I have honestly, man, like hockey's such a crapshoot. Like that's my take there because it's like the puck goes in the net. A puck randomly hits off a stick, goes in the net, and the whole series changes. Like basically every Panthers game went to overtime against the
I
Rangers.
know.
Like one puck goes one different way, and the series is completely turned. Like it's
That's been a profitable bet for me though. Like I've been playing overtime in
yeah,
I
that
don't know
makes
if I'd necessarily play it in this series because I think like Edmonton can put the puck in the net. Like you
well,
want
it's a
to
really
more
fascinating
defensive.
series because Edmonton's so good offensively, and the Panthers are so good defensively.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's good. All right, so popcorn match Friday morning, 8:30 a.m. Alcaraz against Sinner. Alcaraz is a 2.5 game favorite, minus 170 on the money line. Sinner is plus 140. The to be number one in the world is plus 140, and you get an over under of 39. So let me hear your take first.
Yeah, I have a really hard time understanding um why Sinner is this big of a dog. Well, I guess I shouldn't say I don't know. I don't have a hard time understanding it, but like I disagree with it. I actually I think Sinner I actually think this should be pretty close to pick. I don't really think, just looking at the stats this year, on clay in 2024 pre-French Open, um, Sinner's serve points one, return points one percentage was 112. Looking up Alcaraz now. I think Alcaraz was worse, if I remember. I think Alcaraz was like 107, if I remember. I'm looking it up now just to confirm. Um,
I'd be curious to see their the serve and return points won for this tournament, the first four rounds.
that's one. I think Alcaraz is ahead 116 to 115.
Okay, but that's really
That's
close.
really close. And it's 112, 107 Sinner pre-French in 2024.
Okay.
So they're 4-4 head-to-head.
Yeah.
Sinner's slam now, so I don't think the mental is really that big of a factor either way here.
And Sinners beat him
And
on clay too.
Sinner and
In
Umag on
Umag.
clay before.
Slow clay.
Yeah, in Umag, yeah. I have a really hard time seeing why either guy is and if this was yeah, I have a really hard time seeing either guy is a favorite here, significant favorite. I love Sinner here at a significant plus money.
100%. I'm total agreement with you. Plus 140 is borderline disrespectful to a number one in the world who's
Well, I
been
would because he's the number one in the world, but I just think
well, he's been by far the best player all year, right? And like you're putting him in plus 140 against
and I don't know the only concern here is can he hold up physically for 5 sets
that is
against
true.
Alcaraz in a match? That's the only concern here is can he hold it physically? I was considering taking Sinner to win the opening set because of that or the second set at plus 115. Um, but I don't know. I think Sinner's beaten Alcaraz in 3 sets, hasn't he? Has he come back to
He has. I mean, that Umag match was like 6-1 in the third.
looking up this right now? Well, I mean, they went 5 sets in the U.S. Open, right? And you
But
know,
Sinner was fine physically in that match. It's not like
yeah,
he
that's what I'm saying. I don't think that was a physical. He just kind of didn't get through. Alcaraz just outplayed him in the end. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't have too much. Like I said, I don't necessarily think that Sinner should be a favorite. I just think it's really close. To me, plus 140 is a gift here. The other thing I looked at is in their head to head, 7 of their 8 matches have featured a tiebreak.
it's interesting.
What is Sinner to win and a tiebreak? Oh, they
Mm,
don't have it up yet.
no, I would love it.
That's a probably looking at. If you can get better than 4-1, better than 3-1, something like that, that would become interesting to me because I do see a tiebreak in this
Did
match.
they have tie breaks in their clay meetings though?
In Umag, they've had one clay meeting, right? And they had a tiebreak in that one.
How about one thing I was thinking about is Sinner minus 1.5 sets at plus 225 because like if we think physicality is going to be a problem, right? Or if that's a question mark, you kind of feel like Sinner has to finish it in four. No?
I think I just prefer the money line at that point. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think you're getting enough of a price jump there, 140 to 225 to get me excited.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
Fair. I mean, I'm also playing the 5 sets here. I just think like this is a super close match. I think it could be a classic. It has the makings of that. I like it at plus 230. I got it at plus 250 on a different book. I'm sure you can like line shop and get a better price on that, but I really like that. I think it's a very even match. As you said, it's 116, 115, serve points one, return points one.
And that includes Alcaraz just beating the crap out of JJ Wolf, the point where we won 65% of return points.
In terms of matchup, like what do either of these guys do that trouble each other? They're both such like complete players. It's like
Nothing. I mean, so one thing I feel like I've noticed or seen is that it seems like, and it's not that he can't, because we've seen him do it, but I feel like Alcaraz has a harder time using the drop shot against Sinner than other guys because of Sinner's ball velocity and because of how good Sinner's ground strokes are.
yeah.
I think my initial thought would be that Alcaraz has an advantage in I think he's an advantage in movement, an advantage in athleticism.
Have you noticed when Alcaraz plays Tsitsipas, do most of those drop shots that Alcaraz hits, are they off of Tsitsipas's forehand or backhand? Because like if they were off of his backhand, then you can understand why he struggles against Sinner, like to utilize that shot against Sinner, right? But if he uses it against the forehand, then it might not be because of that, you know, like it's interesting. I gotta watch some tape. I gotta watch some tape on that Alcaraz Tsitsipas match because that will kind of give me a better idea on your theory.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, who knows, right? But like, because my initial thought is like, I think Sinner's gotten better at being forward, but I wouldn't say he's like. I think that's an advantage that Alcaraz has. I think he's better in a scramble point than Sinner is. I don't. I think, like I said, I think Sinner's made tremendous improvements, but I think Alcaraz is the king in those
I
points.
agree. I agree.
Um, but I think that's negated by Sinner just having just overall better average quality shot than Alcaraz. Even and not just like and not just in terms of pace and spin and yada yada, but like just makes more balls from more positions.
Which is why the line is not correct, in my opinion. Right? Should be -10 either way. Or maybe Alcaraz -130, Sinner plus 110. That would be kind of a more accurate line, but it's at least 30 steps off, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the more I look at it, I think it's I'm more than happy to get behind Yannick here.
Okay. You want to make that GBM?
Yeah. Yeah,
All
just
right.
a straight center money line, yeah.
Sinner money line. Yeah. I mean, I honestly I want a classic here. I think it has the makings of it. I this kind of has like the feeling of like a Federer and Nadal rivalry in a way, like for the next 10 years.
I agree. I think it's the most interesting of the potential rivalries. Because I do think like I hope at least that people see it this way because you don't have the as distinct, I suppose, of a difference between these guys, but these guys are actually pretty different.
They're different. Well, Alcaraz is more charismatic. He's more
Well, I just mean even in the straight up
more
tennis.
variety.
The like I think the tennis is just different.
Yeah, the tennis is different. I would agree. And it's similar in a way that like I feel like both guys view each other as being the better player. Like I almost feel like Alcaraz they have that like it's a respect but friendship kind of thing that Federer and Nadal have. I don't know. I read more into these narratives than you do. I think you analyze more of the tennis, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah. I just think it's would you get behind the over under here? Or would you prefer playing the over under or would you prefer playing the 5 sets?
Oh, I prefer the 5 sets. I mean, yeah. But it is interesting. Like I said, I think 7 of their 8 matches, these two guys head to head have featured a tiebreak. So I think that's I think that's interesting. And it does feel like when these guys play each other, it's usually pretty close. I mean, um, all of the matches have featured so all of their matches have featured a tiebreak except one, and that was the 3-setter that Alcaraz won in Indian Wells.
Right.
So it like the point is it feels like it feels like this is a damn even match. Like
Mhm. I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. Yeah. All right. So center money line will be a GBM play.
yeah,
Um,
I'm
Ruud,
sure the props I'll like too. It's
yeah, we'll post them on X like
yeah.
when they come out. Ruud Zverev. I'm actually surprised to see this line at a pure pick. Um, I was expecting the books would put Zverev as a significant favorite. So I have a futures here I'm riding. I'm riding Zverev to or Ruud to lose in the final at 10-1. And that's actually looking pretty damn good right now. Considering it's Alcaraz and Sinner and he's going to be a significant dog if he gets through this. I don't know. let's hear what you have to say first.
Yeah, I need to think a little more about this one. I didn't get a chance to really look into this one too much yet. It's it's tough. I'm just, this is a tough one because like I said, I gotta really look into this quite a bit more, but I do think that Zverev's just the better, like he's the better physical athlete, Like I think that's one. I think Sinner has a pretty, or not Sinner, Zverev has a pretty significant athletic edge here.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that. Ruud has an advantage on the forehand, but it's negated by Zverev's advantage on the backhand. Zverev has the much better serve. Um,
But like forehand to forehand rallies just favor Ruud so much here.
they do, but backhand to backhand favors Zverev so much, right? And I feel like Zverev's gotten, I got to give Zverev a lot of credit. I think in the last 3 years, he's done a lot to improve his game.
I'd agree with
Uh,
that.
and and a lot to improve his strategy. And I feel like I'd love to see a stat on this because it feels like he's done a better job of getting rallies into backhand to backhand than he used to.
I would agree, but I also feel like Ruud is better at good at, that's one of his strengths is that he kind of
He's a good
eliminates that.
tactician. I would agree. I would agree. I think it's an interesting matchup. Rude beat the crap out of him at last year's French Open for what it's
Yeah,
worth.
3-4 in love. But like, I mean, that's not I think we're gonna expect different performance from Zverev too here. Like Zverev was also in way better form coming in, and I think there was some still injury question marks with that ankle. So I'm not gonna take too much into that, but I do think Ruud has a mental edge. I I think that's significant here. I think Zverev has lost his last what 2 or 3 Slam semifinals. He lost in Australia to Medvedev. He lost uh, the semi to Djokovic at the U.S. Open. I know there's like 1 or 2 more. He lost to Tsitsipas in 5 here.
I mean, his record in slam semis can't be good. I'm looking it up right now.
That'd be
Um,
like 1-4
I mean, if that.
in 5. Yeah.
For his career in the semifinals of Grand Slams, Zverev is 1-6.
Wow, sick. Like he's been in 7. So he's lost.
Now, again, obviously, one is the loss to Nadal, where it was, kind of unfair to judge that as a true loss.
Okay. There was one to Djokovic,
Although
right?
I don't think he would have beaten Nadal that day either. He would have just choked mentally the way he did.
There was the
That
Ruud one. There was the Tsitsipas one.
have been mental defeats. Like if I go through these matches, like Australian Open against Medvedev, really should have won that match.
That's a
Um,
mental defeat.
what?
That's a mental defeat.
Yeah, Rude, Rude in French Open just didn't show up. Not sure why. Nadal, I know he got hurt, but that was a match that I remember watching that match and being amazed that Nadal actually was up a set and in a tiebreak. Like the match should have been over. Zverev would kicked his butt on every non-important point. He did, and then every important point he suddenly forgot how to play.
That was a mental match. Yeah, exactly. That
Yeah,
shows some mental limitation.
you know what I mean? Like if he didn't get hurt, I don't think it would have mattered because Nadal was so far ahead of him mentally. Djokovic, the U.S. Open 21. I remember that match in 5 sets again. Zverev got beaten mentally. I don't remember much about the 21 Roland Garros semi against Tsitsipas. To be
But
fair,
wasn't he up like what would they did they split or
it was Tsitsipas went up 2 sets. Zverev took the third and fourth, and then Tsitsipas took the fifth. I mean, he's been right on the doorstep all these times. It's it's
That
a
was a,
fast
I mean,
match
that
because
one I'm
like
not gonna count because that was a tight match for both. Like
which one?
the Sissy Pass one. Like,
Okay.
okay, yeah, they were both looking for their first slam title, like good opportunity, like yeah,
I just like even against Busta, the one he won, he came from two sets back to beat Busta.
right.
Like I yeah, it's scary to get involved with Zverev.
It is from that mental standpoint, but at the
Yeah,
same time, like from a player perspective, like I think Zverev is a better player, you know?
yeah, yeah.
But the mental side of it is kind of pushing me back toward Ruud, and it's a very tricky match. My favorite play actually, we can make this a GBM parlay if you want, but like to do over 3.5 sets in both matches at plus 120. Would you be behind that?
What's the over 3.5 on the Ruud side of it?
On the Ruud side of it is minus 190. And then on the Alcaraz center side of it, it's where is it? Minus 175.
Yeah, I love it on the Alcaraz side. Ironically, the Zverev side scares me more.
Really?
Yeah,
I just kind of find it hard to believe that like even after a dud last year, like it's not going to be competitive at least. My plus 140 you get.
plus 140. That might be good. That might be good. I'll let you know on that. That might be good. It's a good idea for a bet. Um, yeah, you know,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of that. I think it's likely,
yeah,
but
because otherwise, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough. I think it's a tough one to call.
it is.
I mean, there's got to be some advantage for Ruud here, in that he's won in this round the last 2 years. Um,
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to see. I'm like disappointed that this is where the price is, and I'm hoping that in the next like 24 hours that it moves towards Zverev. Because like if Ruud is any plus money, I'm gonna hit him. Like if either of these guys get to plus money, I'm gonna hit whoever's at plus money. That's kind of
okay,
what I'm leaning, you know. But like at this pick 'em price, I don't want to get involved with anyone, you
I
know.
hear.
So because I think the mental part of it favors Ruud tremendously, but I think the athleticism and the game, like the quality of the quality of player favors Zverev.
Okay, makes sense.
So like if this match was in the fourth round, for example, I'd be all over Zverev. But the fact that this is in the semi for a trip to a slam final with a great opportunity to win a title, that favors Ruud. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of where I stand here. Um, I think a tiebreak is very likely in this match. Uh, I kind
It
of
certainly
like
is an interesting matchup. So I don't think it's a very easy one to call.
it's not. It's not.
Like I feel, and I feel like it's a hard one to judge. Like I feel like Zverev's one of the tougher players to judge out there.
He is. He plays at a level of competition. Can I say?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one key thing to look at here is always with Zverev is the weather.
It's like sunny and 70 degrees.
That's good for Zverev.
I mean, does it really matter? Because like I feel like Ruud's forehand is also going to do more work in sunnier conditions.
I think it's a slight advantage Zverev. You know, what I mean, I think both guys will prefer it being quicker conditions, but I think it's a slight advantage Zverev.
Okay. I kind of like a player to lose the first set and win the match. Like this actually might be a good live betting match where it's like the player that loses the first set, I might like back the other player at a better price.
Just because you think it's like going to be hard for either guy to close this, I don't disagree.
It's gonna be hard, and like I don't. Neither guy has really physical issues, right? They're both very physically strong.
Yeah, yeah,
Like when is the last time you've seen either Ruud or Zverev like cramp or like give
yeah. It doesn't happen. No, they're both. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Zverev's an incredible tennis player, man. Like everything about it, he's made a lot of improvements make his game a lot better. It's literally the only question with the dude now is can he get over the hump?
mentally,
And yeah,
it's all his head.
it's
It's all his head. There are very few players where you say like their only issues are mental, right? Like
yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy. But but Rude too. I mean, like you have to commend his physicality. Like
You do. You
the guy never breaks
do.
down. I think it's like very underrated, honestly.
It's very underrated. I would agree.
Like, have you seen him cramp or like retire?
Not that I can remember. No, no.
So yeah, it's impressive. So my plays are gonna be the center money line. I'm gonna play the 5 sets in the Alcaraz center, and then I'm gonna play the over 3.5 set parlay. And then if either of these guys get the plus money, I'm gonna probably bet that guy. I'll just keep monitoring the lines, and I'm riding Rude to lose in the final at 10-1. So
Yeah, I got a route to make it. I think it's 7-1.
okay, okay. So we have like Rude's stake, right?
Yeah, we have root stake just because of that, and I think it's 7-1. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think either play is fine at this point. Like given that he's gonna get either Sinner or Alcaraz in the final, it's gonna be hard for him to win the tournament. So
Right. What are the futures here? Wow, man, I like center at two plus 275 to win the title, man. That seems good, man. Seems
that
good.
seems really. I mean, the question is, are you better off just like the real question though is, are you better off just like
Problem is if Sinner wins the semi, he's gonna be a significant favorite in the final.
you think, but maybe not that big against Zverev. I think it depends on how long the problem with picking Zverev on an outright or Sinner on an outright here is like I'd be a little scared if the match with Alcaraz goes 5 of physicality in the final. I mean,
Yeah,
like we literally saw that happen in Monte Carlo where he played one long match and then all of a sudden he was physically beat up.
you might be right.
Honestly, at this point, from a tennis fan perspective, um, I'm really rooting for Ruud and Sinner. Like I would be really. I think it'd be great to see Ruud win a title. I think after getting close twice, it'd be cool to see him win it. And I think it'd be Sinner. It'd be fun from a tennis perspective to have the calendar year Grand Slam out there going into Wimbledon. And wouldn't it be so cool if after Djokovic chasing it for all these years,
But
if
Sinner
like
gets it.
wasn't that good, Sinner got it right away the first year?
Oh, I know. That would actually be amazing. Like it would be amazing. Because like if he wins his title, I mean he honestly has a realistic shot. Because
He's in play at Wimbledon.
he is 100%. And then
And he
like
didn't play at the U.S. Open. In fact, I would make him right now a prohibitive favorite at the U.S. Open.
A little bit worried at the U.S. Open because I think the weather has a big part of it. Like if it's like hot and humid for like two
I
weeks,
mean, that happens in Australia too, right? I mean, I think got a little lucky maybe with the weather this year in Australia, but
there are a
yeah.
lot of night matches in Australia though. Like with where the U.S. Open,
There are quite a few night matches at the US Open too. They have,
but it's more humid at night. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean he's in play. I can't deny. Plus, it's a little slower, right, at the U.S.
yeah.
Open. So, I mean, what about this Ruud Sinner at plus 375? You like that?
No. All right, good, because I just prefer yeah, if I have to choose one of these, that's my favorite. But I'd rather just take the center. I think we've got the right play just taking
Money line?
the center money line. Yeah, I think that's the best play. Like
Okay. So if you had to rank these four guys in terms of who to win the title, like, do you agree with these odds? Like, how is Rude and so the book is basically saying that Zverev has a way better chance of beating Alcaraz or Sinner in the final. But,
I agree with that.
huh?
I agree with that. I mean, like mentally, he might end up being a wreck come the final, but at least Zverev can compete with those guys physically. Like I think if Ruud makes the final against Alcaraz or Sinner, he just gets beaten down again.
Yeah,
Right? Like the problem with Ruud is like what is the path besides like variance? What is the path for Ruud to beating Alcaraz or Sinner in a final? I mean, the path. Okay, so let me take that back. The path is Sinner is exhausted physically from a long match with Alcaraz,
yeah,
or Sinner re-injures the hip, or you know what I mean? Like Alcaraz is re-injuring the forearm, yada yada. That is the path for Ruud. But
right.
Ruud, I don't think Ruud can beat Alcaraz or Sinner if those guys are playing their best.
No.
If Zverev's playing his best, like I think he can win this tournament. I just don't know that I trust he'll play his best.
Well, you've stood by your stance that like Zverev should be number one in those power rankings, right? Like you've said it, like you've held firm on that stance, like for most of the tournament,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. But now when the mental piece comes in, I feel like he wouldn't be.
yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where like I think he had the highest floor, right? Like, well, so I don't necessarily know. Like, I wouldn't put Zverev as a dog against Ruud, even given the mental chat potential mental block, right? And then like with Alcaraz or Sinner, like I just didn't feel good about their chances pre-tournament.
Yeah,
Once they got through four rounds and were clearly healthy for a week, right? Like I think what was it pre-quarters we re-ranked and I put Alcaraz and Sinner number one and two.
right.
So like for me it was just I didn't have that much faith coming in pre-tournament, like
Yeah,
because I agree. Like now that we're at the semifinals and Zverev's gonna have to beat a legitimate opponent in the finals, like that's not ideal. Like I wanted to play like Busta.
but to me, there's absolutely no value in Alcaraz, like hitting Alcaraz in any capacity here because like
Yeah, I
why
think Alcaraz is being overvalued significantly. I would agree with that.
being overvalued tremendously here? I
I mean,
mean,
I think there's value on hitting any. I think there's probably value on hitting Sinner or Zverev, um, or maybe even Rude. I mean, maybe I don't know. But my challenge there is again, like I'd rather just. I think this is one where you'd rather just wait and play match by match. Like you just rather. I think you'd rather because like I want to see what happens at Alcaraz Sinner match before I back either of those guys in a final.
yeah, if it goes like 5.5 hours and they kill each other,
Yeah, like there's a path here for Rude.
there
Sinner
it is.
and Alcaraz kill each other and knock each other out, and Zverev knocks himself
Zverev
out,
duds.
and he's just last man standing, and he gets a slam.
But, I feel like Ruud could go 5 sets against Zverev and could go 5 sets against Alcaraz and Sinner, and like he'd be fine.
Oh, like look, like you're not gonna we're not gonna bash Ruud if he wins it. Like that is like it's still is an accomplishment, right? Like it's like last man standing is a thing. Like a lot of times in this event,
Yes,
that's what a lot of it's about, you know?
it is. Yeah,
Like how often is a slam win? Even when the big 4-1 slams, it oftentimes wasn't the prettiest, you know?
right, right. I mean, yeah, I'm hoping we get, some pretty tennis. I don't want to see like a repeat of what we saw last year against with Alcaraz and Djokovic, where like a guy just cramps out and like that was so depressing. Like that was one of the most like I was so much looking forward to that match, and like what we saw in the first 2 sets was just so incredible, and like for it to end
Yeah.
like that was just like it was so like disappointing.
Random question, man. Did you get paid yet for your 28-1 cash on your parlay?
I'm gonna have to talk to Bovada.
It didn't get graded as a loss though yet, right?
They didn't grade it as a loss, but I'm waiting for them to do that because like, oh, Djokovic retired, so like we're
Yeah.
not gonna pay for it. But it clearly says for those 4 guys to win the quarter. It doesn't say like to win the quarterfinal, right?
Right. Right. Oh yeah. No, you'll be fine. Like if their tennis like their tennis department might misgrade, you just have to correct them kindly, but like you have to argue with them about what winning the quarter means, but like it's okay. You have
Uh,
to actually have to like show them the quarter of the bracket and be like, this is the top quarter. This guy's at the far right having advanced through. Like that means
but like,
quarter.
what's taking so long? Like, it's like ticking me off. Like, I have less money to bet on the NBA Finals.
That should be your explanation to them. Like, I don't want to put money into my account, and I want to spend my money betting, wasting away on the NBA Finals where I know nothing. Like,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Uh
ooh, so Tsitsipas is still in the men's doubles. I think him and Petros made the quarters.
he is, he is plus 275. But he has to play Mate Pavic.
Yeah, Pavic. I think Aravallo and Pavic play together somewhat regularly.
Yeah,
Oh, Bopan and Ebden. Remember we watched them in Miami?
we did. Yeah. Bopan is the number one ranked doubles player in the world, I think, at like
Yeah, he
age
is. Yeah.
43 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, Stefanos is just happy that he doesn't see Alcaraz on the other side of the net.
Yeah, I don't think Alcaraz will be playing in this men's doubles.
No, I don't think so either.
But it is fun, like him and Petros. Like Petros is just
Yeah.
riding coattails. Like,
It's cool to see him in the semis. Like, it is cool.
yeah.
Just some Surbiton grass court double, grass court round of 16 in the challengers. I really like Nakashima minus 240 as a parlay piece. I kind of like
Won a
Vukic.
match.
What?
Dan Evans won a match.
Yeah, he did barely. It was I bet Walton. I think he won 10-8 in the third set breaker.
That's funny.
But
Um,
I mean Spajda plus 190 might be a good bet too, honestly.
yeah. I don't know much about Svajda on grass. I know about Svajda, but I think of him as his hard course. I don't really know much about his grass court pedigree. Nakashima seems like a good play against Fonseca, man. That seems that seems like a good play.
Yeah, I might play the minus 2.5, honestly. Like,
Vukic could be a good look against Lloyd Harris.
yeah, that's a play for me too. Uh, hey,
You know
that
what? When the over under on a 3-set match is all 24 and 25.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Hey, that Vukic plus 230 against Chapo came through.
I know. I didn't bet it. I feel stupid because I was like, because we call it on the podcast.
It's
It's like,
no brainer. Like
yeah,
that, it's like a 2-day turnaround with Chapo coming
it was
coming
a
from the
two-day
French Open.
turnaround, and just the line in general, like Chapo. I don't know that I want Chapo. Like it was like the game spread was like +3. Like I think another way you could have gotten with a handicap on Vukic at like it might have been 3.5 even. Like
Yeah. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was such a misprice. As far as these other challengers, I just like
there's so much. The fields are so much weaker. Like Surbiton is where
yeah,
like Surbiton is the guys who are basically playing as a warm up for the grass season.
right, right. And
All
next
right.
week,
So far, the main pick is center money line over Alcaraz. I think we both really like that one. That'll be
yeah,
GPM,
yep.
and I think still pending on the Ruud Zverev. That's a really tough match to call.
But are you on the same page as me with like if either guy gets the plus money?
Maybe. I mean, the 5 sets could be a good look there too. To me, that looks like it also could be a, or maybe you're over 3.5 sets, but it was -190. Again, man, it's man, like is yeah, I don't know. It's a really interesting matchup because I think there's some that's it's an interesting matchup. I'm excited for both these semis. It's
Hmm.
you know
They're both really good. Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. I agree.
And there's nobody just gonna get hit off the court. Like it's not like there's like a demon on in the semis who's just gonna get like destroyed.
Right, right. Yeah. Next week there is what Stuttgart and something else.
Yeah, it's a crazy calendar then now for the next like 2 months because the Olympics are in play. So it's like it's really pretty wild.
Let me look at the calendar quick. We got Stuttgart and St. Horgenboscht, right? Two 250s, right? Then the following we've got London and Halle, and then we got Mallorca and Eastbourne, and then Wimbledon.
That's what I mean. It's a quicker year this year, I think, because of the Olympics.
Well, after Wimbledon, that's when it really gets crazy
That's
because
when it gets nuts. I think there's like some 4 event weeks and craziness.
or yeah, Hamburg, Newport, Gstaad, and Bastad are all in the same week from July 15th to 21st.
Yeah, which is so stupid.
It's ridiculous. And then you got Umag.
And you know what's stupid about it is all it's gonna do is ruin all those tournaments. They're
It,
already the week after Wimbledon. Now just like nobody's gonna play.
it's terrible. They're gonna be literally challenger fields.
Yeah. I mean, like they will be worse. They will be worse fields than like the Phoenix Challenger.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It might be even worse than Surbiton.
It might be. The field might be disgustingly bad.
It's terrible. Yeah. And then you got Umag, Atlanta, and Kitchbull the week before the Olympics. And then you have the Olympics and Washington. Like Washington feels
Simultaneous, right? So like who's playing Washington?
it's probably going to be all those Americans.
All the crappy Americans that aren't in the top four. Like, when I say crappy guys, I mean guys like Moreno de Albron who are like stuck between like 100 and 200 in the world. Like,
uh, I mean Tiafo, because he grew up there.
but Tiafoe, is he playing Olympics? Did he say he's playing Olympics? I've got to imagine he's still getting in. He's got to be in the top four Americans, right?
Yes.
I think he's still ranked in the top 30 in the world, right? Because he didn't lose his Halle points yet.
I
Or
think
is he?
Jose Morgado posted or the entry list. Let me see.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm sure Tiafoe's in if he wants to play.
I'm not sure if he wants to. Like knowing that he doesn't really have a chance to medal, granted how bad he's playing. And then like that's his hometown, right? Washington? Huh?
It's close. Hyattsville, Maryland. So yeah, close by. Close by.
Close by, yeah. No. I don't see an entry list yet for the
Yeah.
Olympics, but yeah. Just like quick for Stuttgart next week, we got Zverev, Hurkacz, Fritz, Shelton, Bublik, Lechka,
Zverev's not
Tiago,
going to
and
play.
Musetti.
Zverev's pulling out.
In Stuttgart, really? It's his home country?
I think he pulls out. He's going to play it the week after finishing up the French. Like, people will understand if he pulls out.
I'd say if he makes the final, he pulls out. If he doesn't, then he doesn't pull out.
Maybe. You might be right.
Yeah. And then in St. Hergenbosch, you got Medvedev as the 1 seed. You got Demonor as the 2 seed. Humbert, Paul, Kachanov, FAA, Monterino, Greek Spore. Because Monterino's live again.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Greek Spore, Korda, Thompson, Poprin, Martinez, Kecmanovic, uh, Carballes Baena. So yeah.
Well, I think that kills it for this pod. I think we've rambled on long enough.
Oh yeah, for
We,
sure.
we've said more than what needed to be said.
It's such a short pod. It's disappointing.
Yeah, there's not much to say. I know it's these. Yeah, these are shorter pods. All
Yeah.
right, guys. Thanks to all the
All
followers,
right.
everybody who always chats it up with us on the comments on X, and we've had a lot of interesting, fun new followers. We appreciate it. We're gonna try to
Definitely.
get some new guests on, especially over the next couple of weeks. I think for
Yeah.
these tournaments, it's good because these tournaments play better for potting
Yeah.
the European tournament, so we should be able to maybe get some new blood in here, and
Sure.
maybe we even we can try to figure out how to make that happen.
Once the U.S. tournaments start again, we'll do the spaces
I'll do
again.
more spaces again and do less pods because it just when tournaments in North America, it's really hard to do pods.
Yeah.
Besides preview pods.
Yeah. All right, everyone. So best of
Yep.
luck on your bets. Have a good night. Take
Yep.
care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.